Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. We saw yesterday Luigi Mangione making his first court appearance in a while in the Manhattan courtroom. And it's become somewhat of a circus, to the point of, can Luigi get a fair trial? Can he get an impartial jury? And in the same vein, can the prosecution get an untainted jury that will listen to the evidence and perhaps convict someone who is very popular with pop culture and with people as fans? Actually, according to the New York Post, $500,000 has been raised for his defense. His attorney, KFA, we'll call her because her name's long hyphenated, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, KFA, she felt that everyone's prejudiced against him. She gave a little press conference yesterday outside explaining what happened inside the courtroom. But yet the law firm's not turning down this $500,000 that is still growing and getting bigger and bigger by the day. And granted, Karen KFA has 3 cases to fight: a murder second degree and terrorism case in New York State court, a first degree murder case and possibly terrorism in federal court, and all of the weapons possession charges in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So 3 separate venues. However, I was a little taken back when she talked about they're also going to have a Luigi Mangione info.com website. I mean, the case is tried in a courtroom, not the court of public opinion. So, folks, hold on to your hats, hold on to your wigs, hold on to your loved ones. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off the cuff zone, the police off the cuff zone.
There has to be some common sense.
They were the ones who called 911 to get him help, and now they're calling for change.
This is what it looked like when Luigi Mangione entered Manhattan court yesterday. Everything seems like it's a big presentation, that it's a show. Everything is a show, Cameras on the scene, more court officers and correction officers than are needed. And here it is. Here's the show. Here's the walk-in to court. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 law enforcement officers to walk Luigi Mangione into the courtroom. 9. Is he that dangerous? He has a bulletproof vest on, which I don't know why his attorney took umbrage to that. Like, that's for his safety, no one else's. But he was wearing a bulletproof vest and he was leg shackled. Also a precaution so that he doesn't hit the bricks, try to run. He's facing life in prison or potentially the death penalty. So his attorney took umbrage at that. Again, it's like here in court, and it's a show. It's an absolute show. And I think that was one of the things that his attorney, KFA, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, she questioned, but yet it's for his safety, But I think what she's really objecting to is the show in regards to him not being able to get a fair trial because of the showiness nature of this case. And the fact that she was yesterday giving a press conference in front of the court, and I'll play a little bit of it. I'm not going to play a whole, we watched it yesterday. And she has, a lot of questions. And she, of course, is questioning why and how is he going to get a fair trial. This is Karen Friedman Agnifilo.
where he is being prosecuted in 3 jurisdictions by the federal government, by New York State, and by Altoona, Pennsylvania. But he's being held in federal custody, and the Department of Justice has refused to allow him to be in state custody, despite the fact that they've all agreed that the state court is going to go first. Now, this is problematic for several reasons. Number one, the federal government is still considering whether to execute Luigi and considering whether to seek the death penalty. So we are fighting that simultaneously while going first here in state court. And it impacts our ability to meet with him before court, after court. He's constantly surrounded by law enforcement. He's in shackles. He was wearing a vest today, some looked like I don't even know what it looked like, but a very serious vest with his.
She knows what it looked like. She's an experienced attorney. You know, this is all show. This is all part of the game of playing to the, as well, as much as the NYPD has played to the audience with these gigantic perp walks, as we see there when he was first arrested. KFA knows how to play to the press also. She knows she's no dummy. She knows how to play. And is she really objecting to all of this? Well, is he going to be able to get a fair trial? Are they going to be able to impanel a jury in Manhattan that will be fair to Luigi Mangione? And how about being fair to the prosecution? So many people may be prejudiced, and just because they hate the healthcare system so much in this country, might a juror just vote, and that's called jury nullification, to free Luigi Mangione just because they hate the system so much and they want to see him get away with it? This is from the Today Show.
Police arrested Luigi Mangione.
You can see that it was not a professional hit.
In the new documentary, Who is Luigi Mangione? Producers at Investigation Discovery attempt to uncover clues about the high-profile murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson and the man accused of doing it.
Bright and cheerful and smiley, and you know who he was right away. Shook my head. This can't be happening.
The 26-year-old high school valedictorian pleading not guilty in court as questions continue to swirl about why the Baltimore man with brains, resources, and a very high-profile family would allegedly lash out with such a shocking act of violence.
They are the epitome of the American dream. He was brilliant.
Giovanna Blatterman says she's known the Mangiones for at least 50 years.
It doesn't make sense. There's something wrong here.
The documentary also explores Mangione writing extensively about suffering from brain fog and his struggles with a debilitating back condition.
The doctors won't have a clue what's going on.
That condition may have been aggravated by a surfing incident in Hawaii. R.J. Martin says Mangione was initially excited about his move there.
And he was looking to make new friends. It's incomprehensible that the person I knew and was friends with could assassinate somebody.
Are we all seeing the showiness of this? This case occurred, the murder occurred that Luigi Mangione allegedly committed. Allegedly, he's innocent until proven guilty. Already, there's a documentary out. And KFA is objecting to the fact that the NYPD chief of detectives appeared in this documentary, presenting evidence that she hasn't even seen yet. So this is all part of this. This is a big, big, big show on the biggest stage in the world.
There's also a nod to the nearly $400,000 that have poured in for Mangione's legal fund. His lawyer confirming the money will be used for his defense.
People are donating. They are holding signs up.
The December 4th Legal Committee wanted to give a voice to all the people and the anger that they felt.
That anger connected to a subject Mangione railed against, the healthcare system.
A nurse who donated $100 calls Luigi a soldier of the people.
Controversial support and a myriad of unanswered questions for a man whose legal proceedings are right around the corner.
Well, where does that legal case stand?
Sure. So there's parallel cases going on.
So, we don't need these talking heads right now. So in the same vein that we're looking at Luigi Mangione getting a fair trial, all of this noise may also present or prevent the prosecution from impaneling an impartial jury that would vote to convict. And the evidence in this case is voluminous. It's huge, the amount of evidence. In fact, Karen Friedman yesterday, KFA, as we'll say, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, she claimed that he can't get a fair trial because the police department has withheld evidence. They haven't presented all the evidence yet. This News Nation presented the other side of this case. This is Ashley Banfield with an attorney, a defense attorney named Joe Tacopino, who's well known, a famous sort of defense attorney. And I just want to play his take on this because you usually don't get this take from a defense attorney.
My next question. Is it possible for Luigi Mangione really to get a fair jury and a fair trial?
I think the question should be inverted. Is it possible for the district attorney's office, the people in the state of New York, to get a fair trial? I mean, look at these morons. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to call them. But anyone who's out there with a Free Luigi sign, wearing those stupid, ridiculous hats, thinking that it's really a funny thing that a guy who's accused of cowardly assassination of a father of two on the eve of Christmas, it should be freed because they have a problem with the healthcare industry. Like he's some righteous killer because they're going against the behemoth, corporate America. Well, if that's the case, we should start killing these chairman of BP, the oil company where there's all those problems with the leaking of oil into the sea and all these other industries we don't like. I mean, we might as well hit every, that's United Healthcare. What about Oxford? What about all these other healthcare CEOs? Do they get murdered? I mean, murdered. I mean, look at this. This is disgusting. What a coward. And then he runs away. It's just,
a lot of people, I'll tell you, Joe, a lot of people have said, were he not so handsome, this would not be raging in the press the way it is. It just wouldn't be the same kind of story.
I really hope that's not
There's
the
the
case.
victim of the case, right?
Yeah, I really
Father
hope that's not the case because we look so stupid as a society if that's the case. What I'm hearing,
I'm with you.
which really drives me crazy, is Ivy League schools and students at Ivy League schools are really supporting his release, which makes me think we are backwards.
Thanks for watching.
So yes, there's the first time I've seen a defense attorney actually agree with me, that he's concerned that the prosecution will get a jury, an impartial jury that will look at the evidence and be able to convict Luigi Mangione, because all of this noise out there that he did it because he's against corporations, this rich kid, this Ivy League rich kid, graduate of University of Penn. His family owns 12 nursing homes, golf courses, restaurants, and this child of privilege decides to execute the CEO of United Healthcare because he hates corporations. And the crowd is all contributing to him because they hate corporations. They hate healthcare that denies claims all the time. And there's more dead people from Brian Thompson was your father. And you're listening to all of this. Should the killer get off because he's a CEO? He's a bad CEO.
Completely different seeing those supporters that you mentioned braving the freezing cold for hours, some even wearing Free Luigi shirts. And now his lawyer is claiming that he was searched illegally the moment that he was arrested.
This was the scene outside a New York City courthouse. A raucous crowd of supporters cheering on accused killer Luigi Mangione and protesting what they call a broken healthcare system.
Stop denying!
Supporters waiting for Mangione to make his first court appearance since he was arraigned in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The case a cultural flashpoint. Some Mangione supporters going as far to hack a Department of Transportation road sign to read, "One less CEO, many more to go." In court Friday, Mangione wearing a bulletproof vest over a dark green sweater, surrounded by officers. He was shackled both at the ankles and handcuffed. His attorney arguing images like these will make it difficult for Mangione to get a fair trial.
He is being publicly treated as guilty and as having the presumption of guilt as opposed to the presumption of innocence, which is what he is entitled to.
Mangione pleaded not guilty to all charges in connection to allegations that he gunned down Thompson outside a New York City hotel in December. He was arrested just days later after being spotted at this Pennsylvania McDonald's in Altoona and extradited to New York City by NYPD helicopters to face charges.
We are concerned that Luigi's constitutional rights were violated in Pennsylvania.
His attorneys telling a judge there are, quote, serious search and seizure issues with the evidence Altoona police say they collected from Mangione.
In the months to come, expect the defense to try to exclude a lot of the evidence that was gathered here. The biggest fights in this case may occur before the trial, where the defense tries to keep out of evidence lots of the material and comments and writings from Luigi Mangione.
Now, this hearing was mostly procedural, right? The judge did set deadlines for defense motions with a ruling expected on that by June, but no trial date set just yet. Mangione, who faces life in prison, also has federal charges looming, including one that could bring the death penalty with his next federal court date is mid-March.
All right, more. So the evidence. Karen, KFA, let's call her KFA. She's saying that the Altoona police conducted an illegal search on Luigi Mangione. That's nonsense. All right. Search incidental. He's arrested. He's identified. He's arrested. He has the firearm on him that he used, allegedly used, to shoot CEO Brian Thompson. And he has a manifesto indicating why he did what he did. So it's like all of those things are crazy. And so should we exclude all of that evidence? I would think that there's a possibility that a judge may exclude the manifesto, because that is definitely highly prejudicial. If Luigi Mangione writes a whole manifesto on his intentions of killing the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, yeah, that's pretty damn prejudicial. But, you know, I could see that being thrown out by a judge because it is that prejudicial. But as far as the gun, if he had a cell phone on him, did the police not request a search warrant to search the calls inside his phone? So all of those questions are questions that I have. But this is a circus from both sides. According to the New York Post, $500,000 has been donated, not for $500,000. Is KFA turning down that money? No. I don't see her saying, this is a circus. We're not going to take that money. They'll take every bit of that money to represent him. So it's a circus from both sides. As far as all of the discovery evidence that they haven't received yet, allegedly they haven't received the DD5s, the complaint follow-ups from the detectives. That's all house cleaning stuff. They'll get all of that stuff in a timely fashion. Maybe they don't have it yet. They'll get it way, way before this trial occurs. So all of this stuff is, again, this is all a show. And yesterday we watched the show from the presentation of Karen Frieda Magnifilo. She gave her little show outside the courtroom because she wants to combat the show given by the police department, NYPD, a documentary all the way already out on this case.
His legs shackled and his arms shackled. And so he's being treated differently because he's being held in federal custody than any other person who would be facing serious murder one charges in New York State court. And I made a record in court today that I don't understand what this show of danger is for. When I go visit Luigi at MDC in Brooklyn, I sit with him. He is unshackled. He walks around freely in the visiting area. We sit in a room together without law enforcement hovering over us. But for whatever reason, here, despite all the law enforcement, they need him to be wearing this vest, they need him to be shackled, and they stand right over us, and we get no time with him. So he is being treated differently because of this unusual and frankly, just the fact that he's being prosecuted by 3 jurisdictions for one event. It all is about one thing, one single event. So we object.
That is a little bit crazy. The 3 jurisdictions, you got the NYPD, you have New York State courts, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office prosecuting him. The feds, the Southern District of New York is prosecuting him for murder, first degree. And the Altoona, Pennsylvania police, I have no idea why they're throwing their hats in this too. 3 jurisdictions. Because if he's tried in the state courts by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and say he's found guilty, why do they even need to prosecute him federally? And if he's convicted in the New York State courts, why do they need to prosecute him in Altoona, PA? These are questions I have, probably because it is the circus that we see with this case. And I think nothing more says circus than we saw this perp walk we saw a couple of weeks ago when with the mayor in the perp walk. It just sort of outrageous. And so Karen Friedman Ignifilo, excellent attorney, but she's playing to the cameras too. All right. So folks, anyway, that's an update. And the big question here we hope we answered is, can Luigi get a fair trial? That's the question we all have. And maybe soon we'll be able to answer that. But for right now, we'll put that question out there and you can answer it yourself. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Have a great day, everyone. God bless.
One episode